Hi everybody, this is Betti from Casa Chiesi. We are almost at the end of our summer holiday here in the countryside in Cabazzari, and I want to show you a recipe that I've been proposing to my friends. We've had a lot of people over for dinner in the last 3 weeks, and my problem is that lately I developed tolerance to gluten. So when I cook my dinners for my friends, I usually put some recipes without gluten, but I try to do it in a way so that they don't realize they're eating gluten free. And this is exactly what we're going to do today. It's a sort of tiramisu, but we join the tiramisu instead of with savoiardi, that is the kind of biscuit that you put below the cream, with tegolini, but we do this tegolini, which is a kind of wafer. We do it with rice flour. So let's see how to make it. Let's see in the ingredients for the mascarpone cream. 250 grams of mascarpone. Make sure it's very fresh. 50 grams of sugar, 2 eggs, very fresh, and some cacao. If you manage, get the bitter one. And for our tegolini, the cookies that go along with the cream, we need 100 grams of soft butter, 100 grams. Come si dice lo zucchero a velo?
Powdered sugar.
Sugar. 100 grams of egg whites, and 100 grams of rice flour.
Nice handwriting.
I was forced to use my right hand when I was in primary school, and this is the result. Now that all the ingredients are ready, we start doing the cream for our recipe. And the first operation we have to do is to separate the white from the yolks. So when you do that, make sure that none of the yellow goes inside the white, because otherwise it's going to be impossible to whip it properly. Okay, here we go. Make sure also that the eggs are very fresh. And now it's time to whip it with half the sugar. Add it a little slowly while whipping it. You know when it's done, when it's nice and firm, and you can put the bowl upside down. Okay, let's put it in the fridge, and let's concentrate on the yolks. We add the remaining sugar, and we start whipping them. Once the yolks are nice and fluffy and light yellow, it's time to add the mascarpone. Don't do it all together, but use a spatula, a little bit at a time. Once you got rid of all the lumps, you can get your whipped whites and add them for the final mixture. When you do that, you have to make sure to do it always to turn from the bottom this way to avoid the whipped whites to collapse. When the three components are completely mixed, we can start to fill up 3 or 4 dessert cups. You see? This is more or less enough for 4 people. You know, in Italy, usually, especially in the north of Italy, we don't make very big portions because at the end of a meal, people is quite, full, and it's better to have not exaggerated portion. Level them like this, and powder with the bitter cacao. If you don't find it bitter, you can use the normal one. It's just that it's quite a sweet dessert, so a bitter powder would fit the recipe better. Okay, so the first part of the dessert is done. You put it in the fridge and let it there for 2-3 hours. Let's go to the other part. While we wait for the mascarpone cream to get ready, it's going to take approximately 2-3 hours to get the right consistency. We concentrate on the tegolino cookies. And the first thing that we have to do is to preheat the oven. It has to go at 180 degrees Celsius, which makes
365 degrees Fahrenheit.
I will never learn that. But let's have a look to the ingredients. As we said before, we have 100 grams of rice flour. We can use normal flours as well, but this recipe is dedicated to people that have problems with normal flour. 100 grams of soft butter, 100 grams of powdered sugar, and 100 grams of eggs white, which makes more or less 4 eggs, depending on the size of the eggs. We start whipping the whites like we did before with a pinch of salt, which is, as we call it, il segreto di Pulcinella, the secret that everybody knows. It doesn't need to get as thick as before. Put it on the side, get another bowl, and start mixing all the sugar, the powdered sugar. A bit more. With the soft butter. It will be wise to cut it in pieces to make it easier. Here we go. And now you mix it. When it's nice and creamy, you can start adding the egg whites and the rice flour, a little at a time. Pan with baking paper, and this is the consistency that you have to reach. Very soft, because the secret of the tegolini is that when you put them on the pan, they have to sag, they have to expand. So here you go. You can put them on the paper quite distant one from the other, because as I said before, they expand, so You don't want them to, you know, touch each other. When they will come out of the oven, they will be flat, totally flat. Nice thing with this cookie is that it cooks very quickly. So we do first one tray, and then we'll do another one. Okay, it's time to put it in the oven. But since we are in the countryside and our oven is very old, the clock doesn't work, we have to put, let's say, 6 minutes. And then we check them. They shouldn't turn dark. They have to be pretty white. Just the, come si dice, contorno?
The borders.
The borders have to get a little bit brown. Okay, as you probably know, each oven has its own saw, so it could be 6 minutes or 7 minutes. You have to check with yours. But anyway, this is the final result. The borders are a little darker and inside is pretty clear. With this amount of dough that we did, you can have another tray. So more or less, you're gonna have 15 to 20 cookies all together. Here's the second batch. Here we go. This is the end of the holiday. This is the end of our staying in the countryside. So we wanted to lift up a little bit our soul with a nice recipe that we wanted to share with you. So we had the crema di mascarpone con I tegolini alla farina di riso for those who have gluten problem.
Really easy to make, so give it a try at your home. And thanks for watching, and bye from Casa Chiesi.
Ciao.
Ciao.